Family, what's going on? Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Good morning. Yes, this is the imagery that every single Tennessee fan saw when Xavier Brown returned the interception. 100 yards. I know it was 98, but let's just say it was 1,000 yards. Whatever it was, here to recap the game. And my goodness, was the third weekend in October beautiful as Alabama wins by a score of 37-20. Okay, before I talk about my game balls, man, you know, Ty Simpson, 19 of 29, he's always going to get a game ball. I mean, he's absolutely playing like Heisman, right? The Heisman-Simpson trophy. And I know all that's rat poison, but look, let's give credit where it's due. The guy was 19 of 29, 253 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. I mean, just an incredible display. And the thing I want to really highlight is the fact that Alabama has beaten 4 consecutive ranked opponents, right? Look, maybe you didn't like Ty Simpson's stats. Maybe there was a couple throws that were off or whatever. He's doing it weekly against top 25 teams. You come do that, okay? And I get it. Look, Fernando Mendoza is a great quarterback from Indiana. I like him, to be honest. But they're not playing the same competition, plain and simple. So when I look to this Alabama football team, that certainly stands out. And I like to start with the quarterback play kind of out the jump, right? Look, tonight, as I look to kind of game balls and I look back at this game, I really have to highlight the play of Daniel Hill. And if you caught my post-game reaction, I wouldn't be like, oh, my goodness, now this is the guy, and we don't like Jam, we don't like Kevin Riley. No. What I learned is you have 3 different styles of running backs that we knew we were going to have. And now with Daniel Hill arriving, well, my goodness, this is great for the Alabama running back room. And I was frustrated with Alabama's running game. I will admit that. But I think towards the end of the game, when we started, feeding the ball to Daniel Hill on some sweeps, you saw this dude doing absolute work. I mean, he's going to be a load, 250 pounds. And I still think, look, the way that Alabama was able to use Jam Miller, in the first 3 SEC games, that's great. And now you use Daniel Hill in this game. That's great. Kevin Riley, he did his job at the beginning of the season. That's great. All these guys are capable. They're different, right? I don't like kind of the first and second play going to Kevin Riley. I think that, you kind of go with Ty or something like that there. That's kind of my only discrepancy with Ryan Grubb. It may be a little bit too many gadget plays, but the gadget plays, then they come and they work, right? I mean, there was some busted gadget plays, but when you're an athlete like Jerry Bernard, my goodness, the guy can do whatever he wants. But before we get to that, look, Ryan Williams, it was good to see him come back and have a big game. I've been telling you all year, don't write this dude off. The 3 catches that he made in the first half were incredible. My goodness, the guy absolutely balled out of control. Those catches were very, very difficult, very, very challenging, and he came up with some great catches tonight. He finishes the game 5 of 87, 5 targets, and 87 yards. He actually had a reverse that he took for 16 yards as well, which was a first down. Jerry Bernard, you can utilize him in so many different ways, and I can't wait till – look, I love him here, but he's going to definitely be playing on Sundays. He had 4 rushes for 49 yards, and then he had 5 receptions for 60 yards. So Jerry Bernard absolutely doing work, and I love how they utilize him. Kind of a quiet game from Isaiah Horton, but once again, we saw Lazier Brooks stand out, 3 receptions for 39 yards. 42 over here. This guy, man, it's been great. I think as Alabama fans, you've been wanting to see like Keon Keeley. You've been wanting to see Yhonzae Pierre. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time for these guys to get on the field. He had 3 quarterback sacks. This guy did an amazing job, and love to see it because this is a guy, we know he has athleticism. We know he can be that guy. And, you had Quay, you had Ja go down with injuries, and Yhonzae Pierre stands up. And I know the guys behind him will stand up if they have opportunities down the road or whatever. But it's really nice. This is probably one of the better storylines is to see Yhonzae Pierre certainly feast at the table. 3 quarterback sacks. Love to see it. This was probably one of my favorite plays since covering the Alabama football team. I can't deny it. I love big plays. Big-time players rise up in big-time games. And the thing about Alabama's secondary, and, they come in, they're a top 10 unit, and there's a little bit of drama because we're watching like Dejon Lee and DeMonte Jackson, all that sort of stuff. Tennessee, and I was kind of talking about this on during the live and the watch along, it seems like this defense, and they kind of built an identity, at least through these first, they played 7 games? It's crazy. It's kind of like a bend but don't break mentality. You know what I'm saying? And I think the bend but don't break, you start to see that kind of being a theme, right? Against Georgia, it's 4th and 1. Deontay Lawson, LT Overton, they make a stop. Against Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia is driving down. Keon Sabb comes up with a stop. Against Missouri, you need to stop, and maybe that play on that time it was a defensive special teams by a running back, Draylen Washington. You make the stop. In this particular game, Tennessee was driving. The score was 16-7, right? And Tennessee put together it was like an 80-yard drive, and they're getting down there. They're at the 1 or 2 or whatever it was. And if they score a touchdown at that particular play, you go into halftime 16-14. Tennessee has a little bit of momentum when we all know that Tennessee scored a long touchdown run in the third quarter. So you kind of think like, what could have been? Well, the defense comes up with a hell of a play right here. Xavier Brown going, I know the official was 98. I like to say it's 100 just because. I don't care whatever it was. This was an incredible play. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. What were you doing? And this is the type of play. Look, Yhonzae Pierre, his performance tonight will be highlighted and will be spoken about. And he'll probably get player of the week. But this type of play, there's a lot of going on here. Look, if we zoom in, you got Kane Proctor, crispy. He's feeling it. Is this Terrell Owens? Terrell Owens going crazy. This dude over here is going wild, right? Is that Jackson Lloyd back over there? And this guy's just like, oh my goodness, are you serious? So, that was just, this play will be remembered, and I get it. Daniel Moore has already got a painting of crispy, but I would, look, this game between Alabama and Tennessee, as even Coach Saban said, a lot of people refer to the Auburn game. The Iron Bowl is the biggest rivalry game, but man, he said, look, I say Tennessee is one of the bigger rivalry games too. So this could you imagine this as a painting? Would you want this on your wall? I know I'd want it on mine. So really big play. Here's Yhonzae Pierre again, kind of on the flex, 3 sacks on the night. Love to see it. Man, Ty Simpson, this guy is taking Alabama to places that they need to go. This is a guy that is operating at such a high level, and I love to see it. The guy now has on the season, which is crazy because they've just played 4 consecutive teams from the SEC that were all ranked, all right? The guy has 18 touchdowns, 1 interception, okay? Carson Beck, you saw what happened to him on Friday. Right, he came into that game with 11 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in 5 games. He threw 5 interceptions. Let's call it what it was on Friday night. You could theoretically say he has, 11 touchdowns and 8 interceptions or whatever now. So Ty Simpson, man, just props to you because you came in and you handled yourself like a man the whole time. You didn't complain. You didn't play the entitlement card. You probably could have went a lot of different places in the country and been the big-time baller that you are. But you wanted to be here because you're loyal. And the players around you want to play up for you. The players around you are excelling because of your leadership. When you called the players out on Monday and expressed that was in the standard of Alabama football, the players responded. Was it perfect tonight? No. But it was another step forward in the right direction, and the right direction is week by week in SEC play. It is now any given Sunday in college football. So this next game against South Carolina, that's a big trap game. You have to block out the external noise. You have to block out, hey, you're going to win the Heisman. You're going to do all that. You haven't done anything, to be honest, because, a couple losses down the way. Think about the teams that you have, right? And I'm going to show you some stats here of the teams that you're about to play. Because I think when you look to this, the upcoming schedule, this ain't over. You got a game against South Carolina. If you don't come with it, this South Carolina team, that would be embarrassing, okay? So this is a trap game. You got LSU. These guys are going to act like it's their Super Bowl, okay? I know Vanderbilt beat them. It wasn't by a large margin. They got players, okay? You got Oklahoma, 2 very good quarterbacks that you're going against back-to-back. Even Lenore Sellers. Look, I like him as a quarterback. You got Eastern Illinois, and you got the bad guys there at the back end of the season. I don't care what is going on with Auburn. You and me both know that game back there can be absolutely dangerous regardless of the time of year. If it's over there, it's dangerous, period. How about this? You want to zoom into this? Look at Alabama right now. 4-0 in conference play, and so is Texas A&M. I asked you guys during kind of the watch-along, who is better, in your opinion, Texas A&M or Georgia? Georgia is a team today that beat Ole Miss and a team that doesn't give up. Georgia scored 17 points in that fourth quarter, and they were able to beat Ole Miss to hand Ole Miss their first loss. But if you zoom out and you kind of look to the SEC, I mean, my goodness, look at all these teams: 7-0, 6-1, 6-1, 6-1, 6-1, 6-1, 6-1, 6-1, 5-2, 5-2, 5-2. It's wild to think about. This conference will probably only get 5 into the playoffs. At least they should. It would be a real travesty if they don't. But something that we continue to watch going forward is, how many teams are going to make it from the SEC. As we look to the college football weekend wrap-up, you got Miami going down to Louisville. As I said, any given Sunday, any given Saturday, any given Friday night, things can happen. Minnesota even beat number 25 Nebraska, right? You got number 1 Ohio State beat Wisconsin, a team that Alabama has beat before, 34-0. Indiana, 7-0 on the season, 38-13. Fernando Mendoza, 24 of 28, 4 touchdown passes against Michigan State, a team that is 0-4 in Big Ten. You see the quality of competition, right? Just saying. Texas A&M able to survive against Arkansas. How good is that team? I don't know. How good is Arkansas? They played Tennessee and A&M down to the wire in their last 2 games. Georgia able to rally in the fourth quarter, scoring 17 to beat Ole Miss, 43-35. Alabama, as mentioned, beats Tennessee by a score of 37-20. Look, another top 10 team lost. Texas Tech lost to Arizona State. It's hard to play on a week-by-week grind, and when these teams even play a mediocre team, they struggle. These teams like Texas Tech or like some of these teams that are kind of unknowns like Indiana even, how would they fare on a weekly grind? I just have a hard time believing that they would win 4 consecutive games against SEC competition of teams that were even SEC or from the top 25. And my point is for this one, think about this. Arizona State, who do they lose to? Mississippi State. Could Mississippi State beat Texas Tech? I don't know. Vanderbilt with the big win over LSU. You got Georgia Tech. This team is undefeated. Brent Key doing a really great job. These guys are 7-0 in the year. Notre Dame now 5-2 after beating USC by a score of 34-24. You got Oklahoma, who Alabama will play in a couple weeks, winning 26-7. And you got BYU defeating Utah by a score of 24-21. Missouri is able to beat Auburn. Auburn now 0-4 in SEC play. Wow, it's rough. Virginia now 5-0 in ACC play after defeating Washington State. South Florida is able to beat Florida Atlantic, and Texas outlast Kentucky in overtime. Credit to Alex Mortensen up at UAB getting his first victory, beating undefeated Memphis by a score of 31-24, and it was Cincinnati defeating Oklahoma State by a score of 49-17. Hey fam, if you like the content, you like the delivery, if you like what we got on the YouTube channel, please run the thumbs up on all these videos. I really appreciate you guys' support. It'd be good to see you guys inside the comment box. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama on this beautiful Sunday morning. Kyle Henderson, the Bama Football on YouTube.